This is a repair of the DC-14 Animal Dyson upright vacuum. I hope this saves somebody some grief and saves them a chance of throwing away a $500 vacuum. We didn't throw it away. So the problem is this. The Dyson looks pretty stout, but it's got two handles and a flexible hose in the back that causes pressure on the main frame. So that handle and the handle up above, you lift that, you carry it around, it's great. Perfect for doing that. Fantastic, but it puts strain on the frame. And this hose constantly puts strain on the frame. And you get a catastrophic break that happens right here. And I'm going to show you how to fix this using some really interesting things. It's a 3D printer pen, some metal like a paper clip, some screws like a sheet metal screw, and a soldering iron. So right now I've got this is actually the second repair. The first repair is I used the 3D pen just to stitch it together and threw some epoxy on the frame. That didn't work so well. It probably broke after one vacuuming. My wife was like, "Oh yeah, great genius, you did a great job repairing this." But I figured out, you know what, I just gotta figure out a way to strengthen this so it doesn't break, because this frame isn't strengthened properly. So I got some straps that I had left over from building some lithium-ion batteries. You could do the same thing with a paper clip. It's not a big deal. What you have to do is you have to use metal to actually support this plastic. This is ABS. It gets brittle after time. It can crack. And if you don't have the right ABS, mixture of plastic, the right formulation, it gets brittle fast, within years. And for $500, a vacuum should last you a lifetime. Jeepers, this is crazy. So pushing the screw in with a soldering iron, getting it started a little bit, and then I wait. It went in partial way, and I will start doing that. Now you can see that I can do the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just holding it up there with a pen and the soldering iron. And you can do the same thing with that paper clip. Put that paper clip in there. Bury that in with some heat from the soldering iron and a screw on either end, and it'll hold this thing in place. It needs some support. This has not been engineered properly. This thing cracks in the most ridiculous areas. So you can see how I'm pushing it in, and I've got it aligned in and ready to go. The screws are partially in there, not all the way. And then you take your screwdriver and you push them in the rest of the way. That's the trick to this. If you push that screw all the way in, it's not going to hold just as well as it will now. Now it's got some grip to it. And I released the clamp because there was some work done on the front that was already done. And as you can see, this, as I said before, this is a second repair. So there's some epoxy sitting on there. There's some old stitching sitting on there. And I'm going to just put this screw in to get it ready to go for the next part of the strap. It needs this kind of support. Otherwise, this flex area right here is going to fail. So I got to push in. So I hope you haven't thrown out your DC-14 if it cracked like this. And if you have, I'm sorry to hear it. But you could have saved yourself a little bit of grief just by doing something like this and a paper clip and some screws. I mean, you're talking cheap. The most expensive thing is the 3D printer.
Later, in the void.
3D printer that allows you to stitch this stuff together before you even start to do this. And you stitch it by pushing the 3D printer gets hot. It actually extrudes ABS. So you can get an ABS load in there. You extrude it in, you stitch it vertically and horizontally, as you see there. And it's just little bits at a time. It's called plastic welding. It works great. And the problem is that's where that separation is. That's where it should have just started to come apart. And it broke above that. That makes no sense. That's poor engineering. Was it James Dyson? He claims to have great engineering for the design. It's plastic. If a great design would have made this out of metal. But we're replacing some of these pieces with a metal support. So it's stitched together and it's going to get its support. It cracked all the way around. That's crazy. It should have never happened. If you're going to make it out of metal, then put some vein and some gussets in there. Put some, do some engineering. This is crazy. $500 vacuum. Oh my gosh. So there you are. All fixed.
Many months later.
Thanks for watching.